Young Miami just dropped a legal bomb that has the entire music industry talking. She's suing Tyla, the Grammy-winning South African pop star, for a staggering $20 million over claims that Tyla allegedly stole her unreleased song. This isn't just social media drama or vague accusations. According to legal documents filed in Los Angeles Superior Court, Miami is claiming that Tyla's new single copying protected elements from her own track that was never officially released. The lawsuit includes serious allegations of copyright infringement, unjust enrichment, and even emotional distress. What makes this situation even more explosive is that Miami claims she personally played the demo for Tyla during a private studio session, and now she is watching someone else release what she believes is her song. The internet is completely divided on this, with some people saying Miami has a legitimate case and others accusing her of using the lawsuit as a publicity stunt. But the legal paperwork tells a much more detailed story than what's playing out on social media. And if Miami's evidence holds up in court, this could become one of the biggest copyright battles of the year. So let's rewind and talk about how all of this even started, because it didn't begin with the lawsuit. It started with a tweet. On October 16th, Young Miami posted on social media saying, "Take me to Chanel is greater than put me in Chanel." At first, fans thought she was just promoting her upcoming music and comparing her song to someone else's. But within minutes, she followed up with a series of posts that made it clear something much deeper was going on. She wrote that a certain girl really ran off with her song, and she didn't know how to feel about it. Then she added that she had played this song for this girl, which immediately got people speculating about who she was talking about. The blogs picked it up instantly, and by the end of the day, TMZ confirmed that the unnamed girl Miami was referring to was Tyla. Now, for context, Tyla had just teased a new single with a very similar title and theme. Her song was called Say You Love Me, Then Put Me in Chanel, and the lyrical concept was almost identical to what Miami had been teasing for months. Fans immediately started comparing the two, and the similarities were hard to ignore. But what really made the situation blow up wasn't just the accusation itself. It was the fact that Miami had receipts, or at least she claimed she did. According to Miami, she had been working on her song Take Me to Chanel since early in the year. She had been teasing it on social media as far back as February, telling her fans that it would be the anthem of the year. In August, she tweeted again saying that everyone was trying to take her song from her, which at the time seems like a random complaint, but now looks like foreshadowing. Miami claims that during BET Awards weekend in 2024, she was in Los Angeles for various industry events and ended up at a casual studio session organized by a mutual producer. She says Tyla was also there, and during that session, Miami played her unfinished demo of Take Me to Chanel. According to her version of events, Tyla heard the hook and the concept, and months later, she allegedly recreated it with minor changes and released it as her own single. That meeting is allegedly the foundation of Miami's entire lawsuit. Her legal team is using it to argue that Tyla had direct access to the song before creating her own version, which is a critical element in copyright cases. In intellectual property law, proving access is often half the battle. If you can show that someone heard your work before creating something similar, it strengthens your case significantly. But of course, Tyla's side of the story is very different, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Now, let's talk about what's actually in the lawsuit, because the legal filing paints a much more detailed picture than Miami's tweets. According to sources who have seen the documents, the complaint lists three main allegations: copyright infringement, unjust enrichment, and emotional distress. Miami's legal team is arguing that her song was created first, and they have digital evidence to prove it. Specifically, they're pointing to metadata from studio files that were saved in ProTools Cloud, a industry standard recording software. Those files are allegedly dated March 4th, 2025, which would be several months before Tyla even teased her version of the song. The lawsuit also includes an affidavit with snippets of Miami's demo, and according to reports, the lyrics go something like, "Take me to Chanel, buy me what I like, put me in Chanel when you send your type." Now, compare that to Tyla's chorus, which fans heard in teasers, and goes, "Say you love me, then put me in Chanel, you know what I like." The structure and theme are strikingly similar, and that's exactly what Miami's team is banking on. They even hired a musicologist to analyze both tracks, and according to the lawsuit, that expert found a 68% lyrical overlap between the two songs. On top of that, the expert allegedly claimed that both tracks share an identical cadence pattern in the hook and nearly matching beat structures, including the same BPM and key signature. All of that together, Miami's lawyers argue, is enough to warrant a trial.
But here's where it gets even more interesting from a legal standpoint. The $20 million figure isn't just a random number Miami pulled out of thin air. It's a strategic move. In copyright cases, plaintiffs often aim high with their damages because it sets the tone for negotiations. Legal analysts who've been following the case say that $20 million sounds massive. The actual settlement, if there is one, would likely be much lower, somewhere in the range of $1 to $2 million, or possibly a joint credit on the song and a percentage of future royalties. That's how most of these cases end. Very few actually go to trial because both sides have something to lose. For Miami, a settlement would validate her claim and give her financial compensation without the risk of losing in court. For Tyla, settling avoids a lengthy legal battle that could damage her reputation and stall her momentum. But right now, neither side is backing down publicly. Miami's team has also reportedly filed for a temporary restraining order, which would block Tyla from promoting or releasing the song in the United States until the ownership dispute is resolved. If a judge grants that order, it could completely derail Tyla's plans and cost her label significant money in lost streaming revenue and brand partnerships.
So how did Tyla respond to all of this? Interestingly, she didn't, at least not directly. While Miami was tweeting and filing lawsuits, Tyla stayed silent and continued promoting her single like nothing was happening. She posted rehearsal footage, teased the music video, and even dropped the song on its scheduled release date without any delays. That move was seen by some fans as a power play, a way of showing that she's unbothered by the allegations and confident in her position. But behind the scenes, Tyla's legal team wasn't sitting idle. According to insiders, they sent a cease and desist letter to Miami days before the lawsuit went public. That letter reportedly warned Miami to stop making defamatory statements and spreading unverified claims of theft. It was a preemptive strike designed to put Miami on notice that if she continued down this path, Tyla would fight back. The fact that Miami went ahead and filed the lawsuit anyway shows that she's serious about this and not backing down. But Tyla's silent strategy is actually pretty smart from a PR perspective. By not engaging publicly, she avoids fueling the drama and keeps the focus on her music rather than the controversy. It's the same tactic a lot of major artists use when they're dealing with legal issues. Stay quiet, let the lawyers handle it, and don't give the other side any ammunition.
But regardless of who's right or wrong, this case is heading to court, and the outcome could have major implications for both artists. If Miami wins, she walks away with a financial settlement and establishes herself as someone who stood up to a major label and a Grammy-winning artist. That kind of narrative could actually boost her solo career and position her as a serious artist who fights for her work. On the other hand, if she loses, the narrative flips completely. Critics will say she filed a frivolous lawsuit for publicity, and it could damage her credibility in the industry. For Tyla, the stakes are just as high. If she loses or settles, it could slow down her momentum at a critical time in her career. She's coming off a Grammy win and building a global fan base, and a copyright scandal could make brands and collaborators hesitant to work with her. Legal experts are predicting that this case will likely settle out of court within the next few months.
Most copyright disputes do, especially when both sides have something to lose. A settlement would probably involve Tyla offering Miami co-writing credits on the song and a percentage of the royalties, along with a confidential financial payout. That way, both artists can move forward without a lengthy trial, and Miami gets compensated without the risk of losing in court. But if the case does go to trial, it will come down to two key factors: access and substantial similarity. Miami needs to prove that Tyla had access to her demo, which she's claiming happened during that BET Awards weekend studio session, and she needs to show that the two songs are similar enough that a reasonable person would conclude one was copied from the other. If the metadata and expert testimony hold up, Miami has a strong case. But if Tyla's team can poke holes in the timeline or argue that the similarities are coincidental, the case could fall apart.
So where does all of this leave us? Right now, two artists are locked in a legal battle that could define both of their careers. Young Miami is fighting to protect what she believes is her intellectual property, and Tyla is defending her work and her reputation. The music industry is watching closely because this case could set a precedent for how unreleased demos are shared in studio sessions. If Miami wins, it sends a message that artists need to be extremely careful about playing unfinished work for others, even in casual settings. It could change the way collaborations happen and make people more protective of their material. But if Tyla wins, it reinforces the idea that inspiration and influence are part of the creative process, and not every similarity constitutes theft. Either way, this is about more than just two songs with similar titles. It's about ownership, respect, and the blurry line between collaboration and appropriation. The next few months will reveal how this plays out, but one thing is certain. Both Young Miami and Tyla have a lot riding on the outcome, and the world is watching to see who comes out on top. So, what do you think? Does Young Miami have a legitimate case, or is this just a publicity stunt to boost her solo career? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next update on this story.